Good morning. It's Sunday morning, September the 13th, 2020. We just had our 19th anniversary of 911 on Friday, and it's amazing that it's been almost 20 years already. It's a time that we as Americans can say that we've come through some rough times, but we are overcoming, and we're going through rough times now. But we will still overcome. We will get through this. So our story today is about Joseph. And if you listened to the first Sunday school lesson last week with Doris, you see that our first 4 lessons are about him. But God's calling us to love one another. And so I have the second lesson, and Doris told you a little bit about their dysfunctional family last week. And my lesson picks up where Joseph had just been in prison for 2 years. And he actually was in prison, and while he was there, he was interpreting dreams for 2 of the people that worked for the king. One was the cupbearer, and one was the baker. They each had a dream, and they were talking about their dreams, and they talked to Joseph, and Joseph said, hey, God is the one who gives you dreams, and so we can interpret them. So the cupbearer, he told him his dream, and Joseph said, hey, your dream means that you are going to be restored back to your position with the king. And the baker, he explained his dream, and his dream told him that he would be restored to the king, but then the king would behead him. Both of those things came to pass. So when Joseph had told their dreams, he did mention to them, hey, remember that I'm here in prison. I don't mind asking to be released, because Joseph said he hadn't really done anything to deserve this punishment, and he was hoping that if somebody talked about him once they were with the king, that he would have an opportunity to get out. And like I said, both of the dream interpretations came true, but once they were back, the one was back in his position, he quickly forgot about Joseph. So Joseph spent 2 more years in jail until Pharaoh has 2 dreams, and they're keeping him from sleeping. And there is no one who can interpret his dreams. He asked for all the wise men, and he asked for all the magicians to come and help him understand these dreams, but there was no one who could help him. And he's quite disturbed. And at that time, his cupbearer remembered that when he was in prison, that Joseph was there, and he told him about the accuracy of what Joseph had said about his dream. One thing that I noticed when Joseph had talked to the cupbearer in jail, he made sure that they knew that these dreams come from God, and so did the interpretations. So he didn't take credit for anything. He relied on God to give him the wisdom and the interpretation for the dream, and he also gave God credit. So Joseph is brought before Pharaoh after they tell him that he's able to interpret dreams, and he tells Joseph about his dream. And he tells Joseph that his first dream, he is standing by the Nile River, and 7 cows come up from the river and out, and they're plump, they're just clean, they're just beautiful, healthy cows. And then after that, 7 more cows come out of the Nile River, and they're all skin and bones. There's nothing to them. Certainly isn't anything that you'd want to bring home. And the skinny cows actually ate the beautiful plump cows. After Pharaoh had that dream, he said that he woke up, and then he fell back asleep. And he had the second dream, and that dream was about 7 large ears of corn, and they were all on one stalk. They were beautiful, and they were just plump and full of kernels. And then in his dream, he saw 7 more ears of corn on a stalk, and they were thin and dried up. And those 7 skinny ears that didn't really have anything on them ate up the nice big fat ears of corn. So after Joseph hears the dream, he tells the king that both dreams represent the same message from God. He also tells him that it is God who gives the interpretation. Once again, he lets them know that it's God who's giving the interpretation, and that the dreams represented 7 plentiful years, and then 7 years of famine. And God is letting Pharaoh know what is coming so that the Egyptians can prepare for the famine. Joseph tells the king that he should put someone in charge who is wise and experienced to protect Egypt. Well, after Joseph's interpretation, the king immediately puts Joseph in charge. He said, who else would he want to put, who would have the wisdom to do this? He gives Joseph an Egyptian name that actually means God speaks and lives. He gives his signet ring, he actually takes it off and gives that to Joseph, which represents complete authority over the country except for Pharaoh. Then he is gifted with a wife, and she is a daughter of one of the priests. So that is a very special gift because of her importance in the country. So in one day, Joseph goes from prison to the palace, and actually he's living out the dream that he had when he was younger. So what can we learn from this story? First of all, God wants to prepare us, and he wants to speak to us. He never wants to leave us on our own. He always wants to be with us. He cares about our needs and our welfare. He uses times that he speaks to us to not only help us, but also to be used to help others. Our giftings aren't to impress people, but to help those around us. He cares about others, that they don't have anything, and he expects us to care and to help meet their needs. He uses resources from others to bless his chosen ones, just like he did here by making sure there was grain in Egypt. Joseph's family is going to be benefiting in the upcoming lessons. And 2 days ago, as I said before, was 9/11, a time in our country when we were devastated. People came from all over to help, especially in New York, and to comfort those who were affected. Since March, many lives have been devastated as well by the different aspects of the pandemic and the quarantine. We have atrocities happening all over the U.S. and all over the world. People are suffering. What does God want? He wants us to love and care for our neighbors. He wants us to love others because he loves us all, and loving one another is how we show God's love. So I think this lesson today has a lot of good things for us to learn. It's a short lesson. It's a pretty simple lesson, but it allows us to see how God will bless us. And when he blesses us, we can bless others. God gives us all gifts. We can use those things to better this world. And I believe that is what God is all about. As we use those things, we help others. We show people what Christ is really like and how much he cares for people. Because there's a lot of people who feel very alone. And, just our kindness and things that we do can make a big difference. So I hope you enjoy this weekend. And I agree with Darce. I hope your next week is great. And we will see you next week for the third part of our Sunday school lesson. Thank you so much.